Sorry guys, I just got disconnected. My internet broke off. But let's pick up where we dropped off. This is really remarkable. Yeah. Hey Wimpy. I should call you Jedi. I shouldn't call you Wimpy. That's not a good name. Thanks for joining the stream, man. Jedi is one of my favorite subscribers who always helps me out with additional knowledge on my videos. So I'm really happy to see you joining the stream. It must be really early in the States. Or is it around what 9, 10 in the States? All right, so let's pick up where we left off. This is hugely important. We have obviously we have Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, which are the 3 states, the 4 states that are going to determine this election. This is really important because right now, as you can see, Michigan has just gone from having Donald Trump being the favorite to win it. But just a few moments ago, he was at 49.5%, and Joe Biden was at 49%. So Donald Trump just a few moments ago was leading in Michigan, but now he is down by 0.1%. You are seeing now that 93% of Michigan has been counted. So now there's only 7% left. They're actively counting the votes right now in Michigan. And Michigan is hugely important because they're going to Michigan and Pennsylvania. Looks like they'll be the determining factor in this election. They look like they will be the ones actually deciding who will be the president. So right now I'm going to have to change in my interactive map here where Donald Trump was actually winning just until a few moments ago. I'm going to have to change the 270 votes from in Michigan. I'm going to have to change them back to Joe Biden. Right now Joe Biden just got to 270 and he just overtook Trump in actually getting to the 270 and becoming the president of the United States. So if you're for Trump, that is not a good thing. If you're for Biden, you're probably really happy to see him become the official favorite right now. Let's just take a quick look at the betting markets. Right now, Joe Biden is at 1.37 times your money back. He is actually the favorite right now, as you can see on this money market. He's the favorite right now to take over the presidency of the United States, and that's only because Michigan has switched from actually having Trump being the favorite to now having Joe Biden being the favorite. This just happened 1 moment ago. I'm sorry the stream broke down just before. But by then we had 92% of votes counted, and now there's 94% of votes counted. And as you can see, Joe Biden just took a slight lead. He's now leading by 0.1% in Michigan, and Michigan is probably the state that's going to determine who becomes the president. Now it's also going to be up to Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Those are especially those 3 states are the 3 states that we are going to keep an eye on right now, because they're changing as we're talking right now. So Michigan is right now at 94%. They only have 6% voting, and they tweeted out on Twitter that they're counting the votes right now. That means that we're probably seeing in the next hour which side Michigan is going to go with. And if they go with Donald Trump, if Donald Trump retakes the lead and Donald Trump keeps Pennsylvania, Donald Trump will be re-elected president. But Michigan right now is saying that they're going to go with Joe Biden. And if they stick with Joe Biden, then Joe Biden is going to become the president. This is really important. Let's take a look at the interactive map. I just switched Michigan over to Joe Biden, and that alone puts him at 270 votes, which is just what you need to become the president, right? Donald Trump just had Michigan. Up until just a few moments ago, he just had Michigan. And it looked like this before. Donald Trump had 281 votes against Joe Biden's 254. And that was enough to take Donald Trump to victory. But obviously now Joe Biden has overtaken Michigan, and that brings him up to the total that he needs. We're literally watching the election, the president be decided. And I know it's very early in the States, but we're watching it happen right now as people have begun counting these votes again after a few states took a break in the night. Wisconsin is reporting that they only have 5% left, so they're also very close. 5% is not a lot, right? But Joe Biden is only leading by 21,000 votes, and that's around 50,000 votes left to be counted in Wisconsin. So the betting market is saying, because there's only 50,000 left, around 50,000. Let's take a look at Wisconsin right here. The betting market is saying that Joe Biden is most likely going to hang on to Wisconsin, and it does look that way. The betting market right now is saying that Joe Biden, it's in Danish because I'm not logged into my trading account, but it says Joe Biden is around 85% likely of keeping Wisconsin. If he keeps Wisconsin, he only needs Michigan. And this is hugely important. He only needs Michigan to become the president. Donald Trump needs both Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan to remain president. This is and it's happening as we speak right now. This is pretty crazy. It's really, really a tight race. We still only have 94%, but they're counting and they constantly update. We just went from 90 to 94%. So in just a moment, we're going to watch Michigan pretty much decide who becomes the president. Because as I just showed you, if Michigan stays with Joe Biden, and Joe Biden has a very narrow lead, it just jumped up to 0.2% now. So he has a slightly bigger lead now than just a moment ago. If he keeps Michigan, most likely he will become the president. He just reaches 270 votes. That's exactly what you need. And then he'll become the president. But if Donald Trump can retake those 0.2%, then he will take Michigan. He will most likely keep Georgia, because Georgia is, they say that Georgia is still a toss-up, but it's really not. Georgia is in the bag for Donald Trump. North Carolina they still have 6% of reporting left to do, right? And that's a massive state in terms of voting. North Carolina still have 6% of voting left to do, but North Carolina on the betting market is also saying that Donald Trump is a huge, I'm sorry this is in Danish, but it just says the Republicans, but it means Donald Trump. On the betting market, they're saying that Donald Trump is the huge favorite right now to take North Carolina and to keep it. So obviously, if we count in North Carolina and Georgia for Donald Trump, which I think right now at the very least is pretty safe to do, then Donald Trump needs Pennsylvania and he needs Michigan, or he won't become the president, or get re-elected the president. He needs to take back the lead right now over the next hour in Michigan, or he just won't make it. Pennsylvania is very much still in favor, and now we're beginning to see more numbers come in for Pennsylvania. They're beginning to count up the numbers now. They're only at 2/3 of the percentage counted, so they're only at 64% counted. But you see that Trump has a massive lead. Now this is tricky, and I want to show this to you guys because this is really important for the election. Donald Trump just had a huge lead in Pennsylvania. He still has a huge lead. He's leading by 600,000 votes. That's massive in Pennsylvania. But what's tricky about Pennsylvania is that the betting market is saying over here is saying that actually Joe Biden, the Democrats, are the favorites right now to take Pennsylvania. And that might be confusing to you. Why is that? When Donald Trump is ahead by 600,000 votes, they're still saying that Joe Biden is the favorite in Pennsylvania. The problem with Pennsylvania is that you can mail in your ballots and you can do it up until election day. And then the rules in that state says that they still have another 10 days. They have 10 days to count your votes, whatever that means. So when they receive the votes, they have on election day, they still have 10 days to count the votes. Obviously, since Pennsylvania is hugely important for this election, this is going to be contested. Michigan, we're going to see a result within the next maybe half hour, maybe 1 hour. I would say it might be 50 minutes, 1 hour before they call Michigan. Michigan is going to, right now, as it looks right here, Michigan is going to determine the election this year. Because if Donald Trump doesn't win Michigan, if Donald Trump can't hold on to Michigan, it's looking pretty grim. Then he almost has no chance, because then he would have to turn around Wisconsin, and Wisconsin he's still only down by 0.7%, but there's only 5% left to be counted. 5% in a state where there's 3 million votes. That's around 50,000 votes, I think. There's around 50,000 votes missing in Wisconsin. If you're Joe Biden, you're leading by 21,000 votes in Wisconsin. You're feeling really good that you only have 50,000 votes left to be counted, because that pretty much means that Donald Trump would have to get 2/3 of all of the rest of the 50,000 votes in Wisconsin. And I just don't see that happening. So if we assume that Wisconsin is going to go for Joe Biden, which at this point also the betting market is telling us is a pretty safe bet. The betting market is right now saying that the Democrats, aka Joe Biden, is going to have at least 90% chance of winning Wisconsin. So if we assume that Wisconsin is going for Joe Biden, then we're looking at Donald Trump only becoming re-elected the president if he can take Michigan. There's only one chance for Donald Trump to get re-elected, and it's if he takes Michigan. Michigan is going to be decided over the next half hour, 50 minutes. It could be very, very soon. It could be very soon. They only have 6% left to be counted. 6% left to be counted, and it's a matter of Joe Biden leading by only 10,000 points. In the next half hour, 2 or 3 more percent is going to be counted in Michigan, and you and I will know pretty much if Donald Trump will be re-elected, or we will have 4 years of Joe Biden as the president of the United States. In Pennsylvania, Donald Trump obviously is still leading, but this is tricky. They're now beginning to count the votes. I just took a look at the numbers, and they're beginning to update now. That means that if Donald Trump is seeing his lead diminish, then that means that the betting market is right. That when they're talking about Pennsylvania, and they're saying that actually Joe Biden is the favorite, even though Donald Trump is leading by that much, then the betting market is right. And listen, guys, typically, I would say always listen to the betting market. In general, don't worry too much about the opinions of political commentators. Listen and the polls and all of this. Look at the betting market. The betting market gives you a really good take on where the market or the race is right now, because when people have to put their money on the table, they get a little more anxious than just like considering their own opinions. They don't get that like boasting about the candidate. They kind of look at what's in front of them, and then they place the money where they think they can make money. So the market is a really good indication. Jedi is saying that I know that the ones voting Biden understand their actions, but I wonder if the rest of the world understands the dire ramifications of a Biden presidency. If not, then they will soon learn. They'll soon learn. I totally agree with you. I'm just, before we get back into the numbers as they are updating right here, I just want to say that I'm a channel that does foreign policy videos. So I do China, US, and Europe. So I focus on the work that President Trump has done in foreign affairs. And in terms of foreign affairs, Donald Trump, I want to be fair. Donald Trump has done a really good job on foreign affairs, especially if you're an American citizen and you have him as president. He's doing a really good job for your country. People would say that he is divisive when it comes to the WHO, NATO, and other international organizations. But if you hire a president to do a job and the job is to fight for your own country, I think he's doing a really good job. Hey Baron, and welcome to the stream. Nice of you to join in. You came at a really good time, Baron, because we're watching the final. I don't think a lot of people are picking up on this, but we're watching literally the election final results happening right now. Because Michigan, let me update this one. Michigan has 6% left of votes to be counted, and Michigan will be the deciding factor in this election. You see, so they still have 94% counted, but you see the numbers changing. You see how Donald Trump is now down by 0.3%. Donald Trump is losing ground. There's only 6% left in Michigan to be counted, and Donald Trump is losing ground. He's now behind by 18,000 votes in a state that has around... Help me out, guys. How much is 6% of 5 million? It's got to be around, what, 250, 220,000? Or am I off on that? I've been talking for a long time. I'm not sure my math skills are that good. You have to help me out in the chat. How much is 6%? If someone can do it, 6% of 5 million votes. Let's figure that out, because that number is going to be interesting. Donald Trump is behind by 19,000 votes in a state that will most likely determine the election of the United States over the next half hour, maybe 1 hour. If Michigan decides to go with Joe Biden, there's almost no path for Donald Trump to get re-elected. This is really important because he's still winning Pennsylvania, and now you're seeing the numbers diminish for Trump in Pennsylvania. So you're seeing why the betting market is beginning to show us what they're showing us. But North Carolina, Georgia, they're put as toss-up states here, but they're in the bag. I would say they're in the bag. Let's just go over the North Carolina, the Georgia numbers again on the betting market. Because on the betting market now, Georgia has actually gone up. Look at this, guys. Georgia, 300. Baron is saying 325,000. So I was way off. I was at like 200 and something thousand. Thanks for that. Yeah, so 300. Let me just finish up this point and then we get back to that number. Georgia, as you can see here on the betting market, this is crazy. Georgia was in the bag for Donald Trump just an hour ago. We're seeing something happening in Georgia that I wasn't expecting to happen at all. There's 6% left of votes to be counted. And Donald Trump, I don't get these numbers. Donald Trump is up by 2%. And there's only 6% left to be counted. We're seeing about the same numbers in terms of votes in Georgia as we're seeing in Michigan. So that would leave us around 300,000 votes left to be counted. And Donald Trump is up by 100,000 votes. Then I don't get how they say on the betting market right here. Excuse me. Let's go to Georgia. Sorry, I have a lot of tabs open. They're saying that Donald Trump is still the favorite, right? Donald Trump is still the favorite. He gives you your money 1.73 times back. That means he's still the favorite, but he was just a huge favorite. He was just around 80%, and now you're watching the market change right here. Yeah, thanks Jedi. That's what I thought. I thought it was around 300,000. Perfect. That's yeah. But this is really interesting. Donald Trump right now, we're witnessing a comeback for Joe Biden in Georgia. Listen, guys, this race just became really difficult for Donald Trump to win. If he doesn't keep Georgia, let me just show you the numbers right now. We have the numbers as you see in front of you right here on the screen. But if we go to my interactive map, where I map in all of the votes, the electoral votes, every state gives you a certain number of votes, and every state, you then count them up, you need to get to 270. Now, if I just gave Joe Biden Michigan, I gave it back over to Michigan, and just by giving Joe Biden Michigan, as you see, that leaves Joe Biden with 270 electoral votes, and he will become the president of the United States. So listen guys, Donald Trump needs to keep Georgia. If he can't keep Georgia, that's 16 votes, the same as in Michigan. If he can't keep Georgia, then there's no path for Donald Trump to be reelected. So we're gonna keep a very close eye on Georgia over here. Georgia right now, as you see, the odds are increasing on it says Republicans. It's in Danish. I'm sorry, but I'm just not logged into my trading account. But it says Republicans right here, and obviously it's Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But Republicans, Donald Trump right now, his odds is increasing. That means his chance of getting reelected is less likely as time goes by. He's still sitting around. Don't get me wrong, he's still sitting around 55%. 55% of getting Georgia. But Georgia is, I thought Georgia was in the bag. I even said so just a little while ago, because we're seeing only 6% left. But as Jedi is saying, it's 300,000 votes. So if you're up by 100,000 votes in the state, and there's only 300,000 votes left to be counted, Joe Biden would have to take 2/3 of the rest of the votes, and I don't see that happening. But obviously, it's difficult to go against the betting market. I'm a guy who works for a living trading the betting markets. You don't often take a look at the betting market and then feel like, no, my opinion is more right than the betting market. The betting market is really good, especially for political analysis, because it takes out all of the inflated opinions, all of the thinking that this will happen or this will happen. It's a really good indication of where things are going. Biden will win, but then he'll forget. Biden will win, but then he'll forget about it. That's hilarious. That's really funny. I try to be objective, but obviously there's a lot of people that'll make fun of Biden's mental abilities. I was watching this video where he said, I have the mental acuity, and he just couldn't get it out. And it's, I'm really surprised at what the Democrats are doing, but let's not get too much into that. Right now, we're seeing in Michigan, Joe Biden is ahead by 18,000 points still. He's still ahead by 18,000 points. This number, just over the duration of this stream, which is 25 minutes, we've seen Michigan go from 90% reporting up to 94% reporting. So Michigan is obviously hugely important, and we're going to keep a very close eye on Michigan. I just want to show you the betting market for Michigan, just so you have an idea of where things are going. Look at this. Michigan is saying that Joe Biden, the Democrats, have a 90% chance of winning. 90% chance of winning in Michigan. Guys, listen. If Joe Biden takes Michigan, there's no way. There's no path for Donald Trump to get reelected. what we're looking at right now is probably Joe Biden coming back from being in the middle of the night, from being a huge underdog. We're looking at a comeback of Joe Biden in all of these states. Wisconsin, he's leading still by those 21,000 points, but now it's up to 95% counting. They only have 5% left. That's a really difficult task for Donald Trump to get all of those votes. Let's say he can. Let's say that he gets Michigan. Let's say it goes against Michigan. Let's say he actually comes back and gets Michigan. He needs to hold on to Georgia to get re-elected. Or there's just no path. Right now, I'm sorry for you guys who's heavily in favor of Trump. Right now, it's looking more and more difficult, but we'll know within the next 20-30 minutes. So stay with me on the stream. I'll be doing live updates as we look at the numbers. Obviously, if we go to my interactive map here, that right now, if the states hold, if the numbers that we're seeing right now, if they hold, then Joe Biden has 270 electoral votes. That makes him the ruler of the free world for 4 years. 270 votes. Trump only needed 5 more votes to get there. He only needed 5 more votes. But right now he just can't get there without Michigan. So you see, even if we go over here and we give Joe Biden, if he were to come back and take Georgia, if we give it over to Joe Biden, obviously Joe Biden is standing to win with more than almost 40 points. That would be a huge defeat. That would be a loss. But right now let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right now we're giving Georgia to Trump, and we're monitoring how Michigan is doing. Pennsylvania, we're gonna keep a close eye on Pennsylvania, because right now Donald Trump was up by 11.2 points just a few moments ago, and now he's only up by 10.1 points, which is also, let me just reiterate that Pennsylvania, the odds now the odds for the Democrats is decreasing or increasing. The chance that Joe Biden will take Pennsylvania is increasing. This is really important, guys. We're witnessing the final results of the election right here take place. I voted for Howie Hawkins of the Green Party. I'm perpetually disappointed, so it's all good. Yeah, it's that's gonna be. Listen, there's gonna be a lot of people whose lives are affected by this. Obviously, in the States, but also on the foreign policy stage. Joe Biden and Donald Trump has hugely different. Excuse me, I just got a call. Joe Biden and Donald Trump has hugely different views on the foreign policy stage. And now, if Michigan doesn't turn around, we're watching Joe Biden in real time become the president of the United States. Something personally I was betting against. I didn't think he could do it. Because I was watching the rallies and of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. But in the end, the mainstream media is a powerful thing. Let's take a look at where the race is right now. As you can tell here, guys, Joe Biden now only gives you back your money 1.23 times. That means that Joe Biden just became the favorite by 80 or 85% chance. He's an 80% chance of taking over the presidency. Michigan, it's all up to Michigan. We need to get the results of Michigan because they're gonna decide this election. If Donald Trump can't get Michigan, we're gonna witness a Joe Biden presidency. Hey Vinny, welcome to the channel. Biden and Brexit. Does that mean you're for both Biden and Brexit? Biden and Brexit. That's an interesting combination. Yeah, so we're watching. Michigan is really going to be important. I don't think Donald Trump really has a chance anymore in Wisconsin. You have to understand that Wisconsin was leaning towards Donald Trump over the night. It's just over the last few hours that Donald Trump is now losing in Wisconsin. The same thing happened. The same thing happened in Michigan. I wanted to hear your view. Listen, I try not to be too divisive in the way that I look at things. I don't look at things, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, as being good and evil. I try to look at it more in terms of what do they plan to do on the national stage, but the international stage as well, which is more important to me and my videos. I think that Donald Trump has been really good when it comes to national policies. I think he's been really good when it comes to confronting China with trade deals and the expansion of China in the South China Sea. I think Donald Trump has been really good on a lot of foreign policies. I think he's been divisive when it comes to these international organizations like the WHO and NATO. But in the end, I just think that you elect a president to do a good job for your country first and foremost, and then secondarily you want him to do well with the international community. But most importantly, you elect a president to do a good job for your country, no matter who you are. And obviously the United States has a very important role on the international community. But I just think a president like Donald Trump, who has started no new wars, he's created a lot of peace in the Middle East. I'm really happy about that personally. I'm really happy about no new wars, especially in the Middle East. So I hope that if Joe Biden, and it looks like, listen guys, this is very important. Joe Biden is right now on the path to becoming the president. Joe Biden, if he takes Michigan, he will be the president. That's just no path for Donald Trump if Joe Biden takes Michigan. So that's very important, and the results are coming in. You see the numbers changing all the time. So I imagine over the next 30 minutes we'll see who becomes if Donald Trump becomes re-elected or Joe Biden becomes the president of the United States. But in terms of Brexit, that's a good question. I want nations to have their own sovereign borders and trade deals and all of this. I don't like a lot of what the EU is doing, but I do like the way the EU is spreading prosperity and democratic values in different countries. But I don't like when they extend their authority and take over control, and they try to force member nations like the UK to stay within the EU. I don't like that part of the EU. So it's pretty, you have to look at things not as black and white, because it's rarely black and white. So let's just update the map and check out where Michigan is right now, because Michigan will be the deciding factor in this election. It's still at 94. Just 10 minutes ago, we saw it increase from 92 to 94. They're counting the ballots right now. I checked the Twitter account earlier, and they said that they are counting the ballots, the final 6% that is going to decide the election. They're counting them right now. Let's take a look here. You mean Ted Nugent's? I don't know why I have a thing with last names. I just can't say them. Home state is going to determine this thing. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Baron. Apparently the Democrats are very pro-Irish. Yeah, they seem it. That's an interesting point. They have a massive lobby within the Democratic Party that hails from that's very Irish, and they have a massive influence on how the Democratic are waging the political war inside the country, which is really interesting. Jedi says, I'm sorry, I must go to work and I need to break from watching my country in its death throes. I appreciate your channel, bud, and do not mean to abandon, but work must. Yeah, don't worry, dude. I'm really happy you came by, Jedi. I'm really happy you came by to check out the results of the election as they're coming in right now. Have a good day at work, and I'll see you on one of the other videos. Trump has been very entertaining. He is our funniest president ever. I would vote for him if it was for open mic night at the Comedy Store. For sure. Listen, one of the things that I think that people are going to miss, if it looks like, listen guys, it looks like Joe Biden is becoming the president by winning right now, by winning Michigan. If he hangs on to Michigan, there's almost no path for Donald Trump to actually get re-elected. There's just almost no path. I don't mean to upset anyone, but as we can see in the betting market, Joe Biden, his odds for winning keeps falling. That means his chance keeps increasing. He now has around an 85, 87% chance. It might be around 83% chance of actually in the betting market of getting elected as president for the first time. But for sure, I would love Trump to do stand-up comedy. I think Trump could do the funniest stand-up comedy. And it's one of those things where half of what would be really funny about Trump is almost unintentional. It's almost just him saying things from the viewpoint of what he thinks, but saying it in a funny way. And the other half, obviously, is just him joking, which for some reason, a lot of the radical left, not all the people that are Democrats, but the radical left, they just have no sense of humor, and they don't understand. A lot of the times when Trump is joking, he is joking about serious stuff sometimes. So I understand why some people can get a little, like the lines can be blurred. Michigan is still next to Ohio and India. That's where they are. I checked. I think Trump actually went on a Comedy Central roast. I think I heard something about that. Yeah, let's go back and check the numbers. Just restart here so we don't lose the stream. Let's check the numbers, update the okay, so the new numbers are still the same in Michigan, Wisconsin is not changing a lot right now. Michigan, they're saying that Michigan is going to give us a result within the next hour, possibly a little further. But I think it will be within the next 40 minutes because Michigan, within the next 40 minutes, they'll report on an additional few percentage points, and when they do, we'll find out where Michigan lands. Michigan is going to decide this election, guys. And Michigan, according to the betting market right now, still has Joe Biden 90% chance. 1.1 times your money back means 90% chance of Joe Biden winning the presidency, guys. Joe Biden is 90% sure, in my opinion, right now of becoming the president. The overall betting market of the overall election keeps seeing we keep seeing Joe Biden's odds falling, so his chance is increasing. He's now down to 1.2 times your money back, which is 87% chance of actually winning. And as we just said before, if we fill out this interactive map here, there's no chance if Donald Trump doesn't get Michigan. If he loses Michigan, let's just take a look at this. If we look at these numbers with Michigan for Joe Biden reaches 270 votes, and that's all he needed to become the president. That's all he needed. If Donald Trump would hold on to Michigan, he would become the president. Guys, this is an election where Michigan is going to decide. I painted blue because Joe Biden have not won Michigan yet, but he is leaning towards winning in that state. He's ahead by 0.3%. So obviously he has a huge chance of winning. Will Biden survive to take office? Bravo says. Listen, that's a good chance. When you're, I think he's 78 and he would be around 79 when he takes office. If he takes office, that's a good chance when you're 79 and you go in to work full time, this hugely demanding job where you have to be on your toes 24/7. You get woken up in the middle of the night because something happens on the other side of the planet, and everyone's asleep, but you have to get up and get in the operations room. And can you imagine Biden being mentally aware in the middle of the night, just getting up? Like, I'm not even talking Biden with all of the gaps. I'm talking about a person who's 80 to 83 years old when he's 3 years into his presidency. Can you imagine him being woken up in the middle of the night and take huge decisions? He's just gonna be like, what country are we gonna bomb? And then he's gonna sign the papers. Just give me the papers. It's irresponsible, guys. It's one thing if you're old, that's one thing. Another thing is if you obviously have lacking or failing mental abilities. I don't wanna pile on because you kind of get what I'm saying, but du ser lidt ud som Sebastian Vettel. I didn't know Baron spoke Danish, but that's Danish, and he says that I look like Sebastian Vettel, who I don't know this guy, so I wouldn't know. But I didn't realize that you were that you're Danish, or that at least you speak Danish. That's really cool. He better take his vitamins and adrenochrome. If he gets elected, which it looks like. We're watching Michigan. Literally 95% now, guys. 95%. We just got another percent, and look at this, guys. Here we go. Michigan is. Oh, I'm sorry. Michigan. Oh, Wisconsin just went up by 1% reporting, but it still has Donald Trump behind. Michigan is still at 94. For a split second, I thought it was 95. But still at 94, we still have that 18,000 vote lead. Which betting site do you use? I went on William Hill, and Trump has odds of 21. Yeah, listen, I use Betfair, but my job, full-time job, is a trader on Betfair. So I trade on Betfair. I trade political markets. I trade sports markets, big events where you kind of have a feeling where things are going. So that's my full-time job. So I use Betfair, which is like a sports exchange. It's a place where you can bet, and it's like the stock market for sports and for political events. And you can put in buy and sell just like a stock market on all of these different events. I'm not getting any money to promote Betfair, but that's where I work. That's my main job. So I sit around all day and I trade on football games and basketball games. Make sure that I take a little, where there's a hole in the market, I fill it out, and I make sure that I get the difference. So I buy and I sell the same thing and take the difference. That's how I make my money. That's how I work full time. Yeah, before we take an updated look at Georgia, which I'm almost afraid of going over to the odds market on Georgia, because Georgia, last time we checked, Georgia had the Democrats almost become favorites. We're gonna take a look at that in just 1 second. It's 7-2 last I checked. Yeah, it's let's take a look at that. I'll update it because I think those 7-2. I think those are accurate numbers, and I think that's what we're seeing on Betfair as well. I heard he will step aside for his vice president. I'm sorry, this is my girlfriend calling. I'm just gonna take it off. Guys, when your girlfriend calls you and you do something important, it's important not to answer, because then you get taken off the path. Yeah, that he will step aside for his vice president. Yeah, Kamala Harris is, I'm sure that she wouldn't hate the prospect of actually becoming the president after like 2 months or maybe even like a year or whatever. Kamala means horrible in Finnish. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I'm not gonna make any comments because I want to keep it pretty clean, but that's funny. Okay, so let's take a look. Like, guys, what's really important here, and what we're coming down to right now is Michigan and Georgia. Let's take a look at the odds market for Michigan and Georgia. Michigan, we saw just a while ago. It's still at 1.1. It's still at 90% chance for Joe Biden to take over that state. If he takes over Michigan, obviously that's an issue in terms of Donald Trump not having a path anymore to become the president to get re-elected. Joe Biden will probably win if he keeps this Michigan state. But now let's go to the Georgia state. Let's go to Georgia, which just a moment ago had Donald Trump up by a lot of points. But let's take a look at where Georgia is right now. Georgia says, okay, so it still has Donald Trump being the favorite. Georgia still has Donald Trump being the favorite by around 55, maybe 60%. For you guys dealing in fractions, it's 4 to 5. Yeah, so Georgia is hanging on, but only by a little bit. I don't understand where Georgia is getting these numbers from, because Georgia Trump is still ahead by 100,000 points. Let me just update the website here. Make sure that we keep getting the updated numbers. He's still ahead by 100,000 points. I just don't see, because 6% means that we have another 300,000 votes to be counted. I just don't see how Georgia is supposed to give Joe Biden 200,000 votes, which is what he would need to actually take over. So I'm not sure why Georgia is beginning to trend more towards Joe Biden taking over. All right, let's just see if there's any change in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Wisconsin first. Yeah, the odds are dropping for Joe Biden to become the president, which means that his chance is increasing for becoming the president. Let's take a look at Pennsylvania as well. Pennsylvania would be a huge achievement in it of itself if Donald Trump could hang on to. But now in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump is still up by a lot in Pennsylvania. He's still up, but you can see that the votes are coming in, and even though the percentage of counted votes is not increasing, because all of these mail-in ballots are being counted, you can see that Donald Trump's lead is diminishing. He's now down to, from 600,000, he's now down to 560,000 votes, which is it still seems like a huge lead. But I just want you guys to know that if it's 600 before, and we're not seeing any updates in terms of how many percentage are being counted, I think we're seeing Pennsylvania trending towards the Democrats, towards Joe Biden, which is to me that's very it's especially in terms of what we saw over the night. To me, that's very surprising. It's very surprising. All right, my I'm sorry to do this, guys, because I know you guys are watching. I'll be right back in a split second. My girlfriend keeps calling me, so in case there's an emergency, I just want to make sure and check. Just 1 second, and in the meantime, I'll pull this up for you guys. Let's go to Real Clear Politics. And check out the Real Clear Politics electoral map. Yeah, I'll let you guys look at this for 1 second, and I will be right back. Hi, Scott.
Get back to me.
I'm sorry. I'm doing a live stream actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Okay. So I guess it's not a good time for me to come now.
No, you can come. I'll just wrap up the live stream and then I'll be with you.
All right. Okay. Do you want to go eat somewhere? Or?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Okay, bye bye. All right, I'm back. My girlfriend really wanted to go eat right now. It's an emergency. So I'll be wrapping up the stream within 10 minutes. But I really hope that we can get to watch the final results in Michigan. It looks like the votes are still obviously they're still coming in, they're still being counted. They're now up to 95% still in Michigan. So we have 5% left to be counted in Michigan. So it looks like it's been halted for a little while, but listen, 5% left. Those are going to be counted over the next 1 hour, one and a half hours. It's going to be tight for sure. Let's just take a quick look. Take a look at this, guys. This is Michigan. These are the counties within Michigan. These are the counties still missing to report. Obviously, Detroit is going to be favoring Joe Biden, which is a very a big area that always votes. Traditionally, at the very least, it votes Democratic, so they're going to vote. And as the votes are coming in, I think that's really why we're seeing these numbers, because the rest of the state has voted. All of these red and blue states that are not blurred out colors or faded out colors, they have already given the vote. So what we're seeing in Michigan is that you have all the states up north, and you have the counties. I'm sorry, the counties within the state. They've already voted. So what we're really lacking is down here in the southeast end of Michigan, down in the more in the city area where Detroit lies. Those are going to be heavily in favor for Joe Biden. Those are the votes still missing. That's why we're seeing a 1.1. In terms of the Michigan money market, saying that Joe Biden is going to win. This is let me just wrap up this session here, and I'm really thankful for everyone of you guys who have been watching, all of my subscribers. I'm really happy that you came to check this out. This is obviously a very important time in the whole world. This election decides a lot of the foreign policies that the US is going to be implementing over the next 4 years. That's why I have such a big interest in the US election, because I would love for all of the Donald Trump hilarious memes and all of this to continue for another 4 years. I think he does a really good job for the US. I think he does a really good job against China, holding China responsible for the things they do, making sure that they can't just expand freely, take over in terms of areas of technology, companies all across the world, especially in the United States, also in education, where China has been reported to infiltrate a lot of the education. I think Donald Trump does a really good job to standing up to China, to make sure that countries like Hong Kong and Taiwan at least have a support in when China begins to try to take over more and more control. Obviously, the US didn't do enough when it came to Hong Kong. They could have done more. They're doing a lot when it comes to Taiwan. They're doing a lot of military deals with Taiwan that aggravates China a lot, because China sees Taiwan as this renegade state. I think the US policies over the foreign policies over the last 4 years have been really good. It's been really good to see Donald Trump take control of the whole situation with China and just not letting them expand without any resistance, or at the very least without any fair deals, because that's what we're looking to achieve here. We're just looking to achieve fair deals on the international community, so that China doesn't freely expand and take over more than it should. Countries like Hong Kong, countries like Taiwan, and other countries like India beginning to have tensions with them on the border between India and China. There's a lot of issues that I feel like Trump has done really well in. I'll do a recap video of what he's done really well, but I just want to say that this election is going to be very consequential on the world, on the international community, on the US foreign policies. There's going to be a lot of people behind Biden that will look to return things to 4 years ago when Donald Trump took over and Obama gave up his presidency to Donald Trump. There's going to be a lot of people that would want to bring us back into a war in the Middle East, possibly Iran. I don't want to get too far ahead of that, but I just want to say that my predictions, if these results hold and Joe Biden becomes the next president of the United States, my prediction is that within those 4 years, those short 4 years, we'll see another war in the Middle East. We'll see most likely tensions rise with Iran, even possibly. I can't see that the US would lead to a war in Iran, but at this point I think a Joe Biden presidency, which we're witnessing right in front of us, there's almost no path left for Donald Trump to be elected, to be re-elected. I think a Joe Biden presidency would hopefully not do any harm to the international community, but I think there would be a lot of business deals that have been revealed over the last month with the Joe Biden family that would continue, and it would no longer be reported on. I think you'll see a lot of this Hunter Biden stuff go away very effectively. I think you'll begin to see social media take more and more control, and they won't be stopped. Not that Donald Trump has stopped them either. They've been really difficult because they're donating money to almost all politicians in the US. So they're not going to be stopped, but Joe Biden won't stop them. And Joe Biden will get into a bunch of new deals with the international community like the WHO, like NATO, and so on, where the US will not be put first. I think Joe Biden will continue the policies in a lot of ways as Obama had them, and at the same time he will try to appease the radical left, the big portion of the Democrats, the radical left that are more into more radical policies, which I'm a Dane and I actually don't mind social policies as long as they work, as long as you can prove that it fits your nation and you can help more people out than you're hurting people. Then I don't mind social policies because I live in a socialist country in most ways. But I look at countries individually. I don't want the US to become Denmark, just like I don't want Italy to become Denmark or somewhere else, right? Just because I think we're doing a lot of good things in Denmark doesn't mean that it would apply to other countries. So I just think that Joe Biden will have to appease a lot of the radical left, and I think there'll be a lot of things and socialist policies implemented in the United States that are going to wreck good parts of the economy in the United States. I don't want to be a doomsayer, but I think that a capitalist system would suffer under a presidency that would have to appease a socialist left. I think that makes sense, and we'll see where it takes us. And finally, and most importantly, I want to see Joe Biden, if he becomes president, I want to see Joe Biden stand up to China. I don't want him for him to begin to roll back all of these policies that have been put in place, for him to roll back all of this. The so-called trade war with China was necessary. It was necessary for someone to stand up to China because they were expanding at a rapid pace and no one was standing up to them the way that China has. So I would like to see Joe Biden, when he becomes elected president, and it looks like he will, guys. It looks like Joe Biden has a very, very clear path to victory. I would like for him to stand up to China. I would like for him to make sure that China doesn't get out of control in a lot of different ways, militarily, economically, in terms of technology and the way that they implement technology. I could go on and on about this issue. If Joe Biden is elected, I wish the best for the US and I hope the best, but I think the economy would take a hit. I think small businesses over the next 2 years will begin to see higher taxes, more regulations, and they would begin to suffer somewhat. I don't want to be a doomsayer, but they would begin to suffer somewhat in terms of their economy. We'll see. When I come back in a couple of hours, we'll have the final results. It's really been exciting. It's really been a great time, great 4 years under Donald Trump. It's been very interesting. I'm still looking forward to the future. I'm not that dark and gloomy about the future because because there's a new president in the United States. The election is not over yet. The results are not all in. Donald Trump could still win. It just looks really, really difficult at this point. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. It was really a pleasure chatting with you guys and talking with some of my favorite subscribers. Really happy to see you guys tuning in and the things that you've said in the comment section. This was really worth it. I'm gonna do more of these live streams. So if you have been watching this live stream, you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel and check out some of my videos. And if you like them, give me some feedback on what you like, and I'll make sure to do more of that as I'm looking to engage with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and remember that even though the person that you don't like get elected, it's not that bad. There's a lot of checks and balances in the United States, and one president can wreak havoc that much in 4 years. So let's take a chill pill. Let's see how things develop from here. Maybe Trump will get re-elected. Maybe Joe Biden will get to be president for the first time in his many tries, in his third try. The third time's the charm. Thank you guys. Have a great day and take care.